stuck here. The cops won't bother me. You know, oftentimes if a ride starts in the city, it's always a bad idea, because if you have to go to the city to get out of the city to ride, there's a lot of stoplights, there's a lot of people running red lights. It's a bad idea. You want to meet outside of the city and go for a ride outside of the city. The more riding you do outside of the city, the better, because there's less cars, less obstacles. And you can concentrate on riding technique instead of, like, you know, running yellow lights and then having like 20 guys behind you have to stop, but then you have to stop. And then, of course, with 20 riders, you stop to fill at a gas station, and then a 5-minute fill up takes an hour. Terrible idea. And that's just the group riding thing about new riders. You should avoid it. As a new rider, you should go out by yourself and ride as slow as you want for the first 5,000 miles. Something, it should be high. Like, I would actually caution people from riding with a group for like 20,000 miles. If I have to put like a mileage on that, I think a lot of people get way too comfortable too fast. And that's another thing. As you get comfortable, you slip up. And I've seen this with myself too. I start riding, and then like towards the middle of the summer, yeah, you're like getting comfortable. And then that's when something will happen, because you've gotten too comfortable. And on a motorcycle, you should never be comfortable. You should never be at the point of being comfortable. Because, you know, you can go from like the greatest time of your life of riding to a half second later, the worst time of your life. And think about it. You're not going to get any awards at the end of the day. You're not getting in shape. You're not like riding a mountain bike. So what reward are you getting other than props from other sausages? And motorcycling, that's another thing. A lot of riders get into motorcycling because they somehow will attract women. That's never been my case, but the only thing that attracts motorcycles are other guys. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's just a sausage fest. I think if you want to attract women, get a puppy. That's probably like the better thing that you can do. But motorcycling, it's very similar to martial arts. Everybody thinks you can get on a motorcycle and just ride fast, but it takes a lot of years to develop a proficient like motorcycling. And you can't get that from like watching racing. You can't even get that from just riding on the track, even though a lot of people think that somehow you're going to be an amazing rider if you go to the track. But I've found that track riding only helps riding in perfect situations that are controlled. You're not going to get better at riding when you constantly have to remember corner speeds, and you know the corner speeds. That's just like a controlled environment. And what helps to ride is just ride all the time. And you should commute. If you have a commute, ride every single day, because that's going to give you a different experience. The more seat time you have on a motorcycle, the better, because you get to know your motorcycle, you get to know what you can do, you get to look around your environment for potential danger. So commuting is actually very important. It's kind of like repetitions. You know, in cycling, you have to put like a base amount of miles before you can actually start getting better. And commuting for me is that. It's just you're putting lots of miles, and you might not see it as development, but you're building a plateau. Eventually, you can kind of go up and down from your riding in the countryside, but you need that baseline done first. You know, you should get into motorcycling because you really want to. And there's something really cool about motorcycling. For me, it kind of rekindled my love of travel and adventure. And because I've never come from money, riding a motorcycle puts you in touch with a lot of people. And motorcycling for me is a great equalizer. No matter how much money you have, a motorcycle puts you in a different league. And you're very approachable. You know, if you're driving a car cross country, nobody really cares. But on a motorcycle, it's such an approachable thing, and kids love motorcycles. There's something really grounding to a motorcycle. The only issue is that you have a lot of different types of motorcyclists these days, and oftentimes they get in it for the wrong reasons. As a new rider, you should ride often and try to ride every single day. Oftentimes in this area, DC, as soon as cold weather starts, riders will put away their bikes. And in the summer, it's a constant high-speed noise coming from the highways. And in the winter, there's none of that. So these guys, what tends to happen is that they'll ride for the summer, they'll put away their bikes for the winter, and then they start riding in spring. This is just like, birds, flocking to Florida. If you are riding, you can ride at 100%. Always ride at 60% or 75%. Leave a little bit of a cushion for error, because oftentimes you're going around the corner and there's going to be something there and you need to be able to brake. If you don't see what's behind the corner, don't race through it. And that's something that I've had so many people that just want to push themselves, and I think know your limits it's a strange way of putting it, because I think the better thing is ride a little bit slower. You're not going to get any awards at the end of the day. Using ear protection, that's something that you don't hear a lot, is because you get the suit, you get the jacket, the helmet, and you think you're well protected, but your hearing is important. And after an hour of riding, even the wind tends to numb your brain a little bit, and you could have potential hearing loss. Always wear earplugs. You can get a big box of them and just use them every single ride. I use earplugs all the time, and actually, riding, it's much more comfortable to ride with earplugs, and it will keep you safer. So earplugs only remove a little bit of the wind noise. You can still hear all the horns, all the environment around you. And of course, there are different types of earplugs. There are some that really cancel out the noise, and then there are some that are a little bit less powerful. I don't want to ride to the city. I ride to the countryside because it limits the amount of danger. It's not like riding to the city is so dangerous that I wouldn't recommend it. Is that everybody's got the phone, everybody's distracted. When you're riding in the country, it kind of limits a lot of that, and of course there's a lot less cars, a lot less lights, and you can really concentrate on your riding instead of riding to the city. Now, there's no issues riding to the city. It's just when you're constantly paying attention to bad drivers, then it's not that fun. But that's something that you have to learn as a new rider as well, is profiling cars and profiling people in cars. You can kind of see what people are doing. If they're inching over, they're usually looking in the mirror. People are kind of easy to read. And even the type of car that the person is driving, you can tell how aggressive that person is. People that aren't aggressive tend to buy economy cars like Priuses and things like that. But people that are much more aggressive, they tend to buy Dodge Challengers or whatever those cars are. Nissan Altimas. Nissan Altimas are the worst car in this area. I see those guys as being the most aggressive of all, and they're always guys. Very few women are aggressive on the road. So when you come to a red light, always have your bike in gear. Don't take it out of gear unless there's 2 or 3 other cars behind you, because I've seen riders get hit from behind. And I like to position myself either on the left or the right. That way, if a car doesn't see me, I can put it in first or have it in first and go in between the cars in front of me. The most dangerous times for rain is after a prolonged amount of time that it doesn't rain. When it rains, the first 15 minutes are the most dangerous, because the oil will rise up from the surface and make it very slick. Then, of course, there's metal grates, there's the manhole covers, the steel manhole covers, those are super slick and you have to pay attention to those. If you go in an off-ramp, think of driving a car. I don't lean the bike at all when it's raining. I know that you can lean it pretty far, but keeping your bike level is much more important to me in the rain, especially in a city where there's people, cars dropping oil and there's debris and all sorts of stuff. So ride much more conservatively in the rain than you would in any other condition. But if you're a new rider, the most important thing is not to get hurt. And if you ride slowly, it doesn't matter. Slowly is better than being dead, all right? Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.
I'd show you what a real man can do. Split you like an old piece of firewood. You'd probably like it too, you big homo. Shut up. Don't tell me to shut up.